welcome back. We have well, I guess this is ReGen versus Shoulda Run. ReGen is on the left, if I am correct on my setup here, and Shoulda Ran. I need to correct myself because I accidentally typed Shoulda Run into this. So, Cursed Hollow is our first map. This is a best of 5. So, for the first ban on Cursed Hollow, Rhaegar, top healer, so limiting the healer pool is kind of important here. It's a really good asset. That way, if you know you're going to be like, we want this healer, you can kind of target ban and force that out. So, as well as, if you want to pick up, like, let's say a Dahaka, you ban out what you would... Oh, never mind. They're going to actually just go ahead and ban out the Dahaka. Which, in my opinion, Dahaka does really well on this map. Cursed Hollow being such a large map, the globals are such an insanely good priority to have. I'm just really curious to see... Huh. So it must mean that they have either some sort of global themselves, or... I don't know. That's what I'm just curious about, because like a Dahaka first ban is kind of... I mean, you could pick him up, unless you just don't have a Dahaka player. But he works out really well here, as well as... I mean, he's just extremely strong. So banning him out, just, if you don't want him in the match, it's just a good place to he's a good ban. On the side of Shoulda Ran, another strong first ban is if you limit that healer pool, because we are kind of... We've got 3 top healers. We've got Uther, Rhaegar, and Ariel. There's some subsequent healers that you can throw in there that would be actually pretty good as well. But definitely one of them, limiting that healer pool, especially from the top healers, is extremely important in my opinion. Asmodan is actually banned out here. Interesting. I mean, he does provide, like, once you get your sieging rat stacks, which are pretty easy to do, especially if you're laning him in top, you can kind of get down and at least dunk into mid. Definitely getting your sieging rat stacks are extremely important, and then once you get those, the increased range that you get from that talent is so useful for canceling out the tribute spawns. And, with that, with your, I think it's the 16 pickup where you can get the demon that comes with it. I think it actually might be 13. But, you can then, dunk on someone, and then not a general, but like one of the units from the Army of Hell will come out, and they can just sit there and poke while someone can't get the actual cap that they want. Uther will be picked up here on the side of ReGen, which, as I was saying, top tier healer, you can pick Uther and then just start target banning. If they don't pick up healer in their first set, when it comes around to the second bans, you can easily ban it out if you see them leaning towards that battery Ariel combo. But with the first having the second pick, that is the benefit. You can pick up that Ariel Vala or the Ariel Gul'dan. So I mean, those are 2 really strong. But we're actually going to see the Tyrael Ariel. So double angels, that's interesting. Tyrael is extremely good on this map, especially with the zoning during corridors with his 16 talent for the Holy Ground. And just Ariel herself is just a top tier healer with the way that she has her CC, the poke that she has, especially with her W and her E, if I'm remembering. Or maybe it's her Q and her E. I think W is actually heal, which always threw me off. We are going to see the Genji picked up on the side of ReGen, which is strong here because he does have that, not the stickiness like you get from an Illidan, but he definitely has that poke factor with the Shuriken, as well as, once he finishes, he gets the extra damage as well. And then he can just clean up post 10 with the Dragon Blade. And then 16, if you get in a group, you just sit there and swipe until you don't have an enemy team anymore. So really strong pick here, but definitely I'm curious to see if they're just going to pick up like an off healer. Nope, they're going to go ahead and just pick up that top tier tank, a Nubarak. So we're seeing a pretty standardized meta comp out of Shoulda Ran. It's just, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just really, really strong, and it works really well. So I'm just curious to see. So ban phase here, ReGen has they have some poke damage, they have their tank, and they have their healer. So on the side of Shoulda Ran, it's going to be a little bit harder for them to kind of gauge what they should be banning. Something like a melee assassin would work out really well here. Personally, I would actually lean to maybe ban out the Sonya because I think she's very strong. She's an insanely good solo. She's an insanely good solo later, so you can easily just throw her in top lane. She's good. Greymaine's is really strong hero as well. So, but I mean, at the same time, you don't want to limit your own pool. So Li Ming is banned out. She does have phenomenal poke damage for those tributes, and if you do lean that way, it's extremely useful. I really hope that there is an incoming Cho'Gall. I really do. I really hope, Ragnarok, there is an incoming Cho'Gall, because I love to cast those matches. But on the side of ReGen, curious to see. Definitely they're going to want to do the same and ban out a strong assassin. Zeratul ban out here, so that means we could see an Abathur coming out of the side of ReGen. Typically, you usually get rid of the Zeratul if you're trying to... Even then, actually, you know what? This is just me being excited about absolutely nothing, but Zeratul does counter the Lost Vikings pretty well, and Curse Hollow is a very good Lost Vikings map. So I don't know if anyone on the side of ReGen actually does play Lost Vikings, but if they do... Ooh, actually, Gul'dan might be banned out here. I think that's actually a really strong ban because of the fact that you're limiting that Ariel pool. But Greymane will be banned out the last second. He's a really good high single target burst hero. So you can definitely get onto that backline, get out of that Uther. But then again, you don't really want to kill Uther right away in a team fight because his post-death healing is pretty good. I mean, there is, he will die off eventually, and he doesn't get all the healing forever, but it's just extremely, if you can destroy that Uther, I mean, it's hard to keep your team alive. So, on the side of Shoulda Ran, I'm interested to see what they're going to be going here. They're definitely going to need, a range damage. They're actually going to pick up Arthas. So I'm curious to see what their range damage is going to be at this point, because they've got 2 strong tanks. So you can probably solo lane with the Arthas and then run your mid comp with the Ariel Tyrael. And I'm curious to see who their other solo laner would be. Falstad would be actually pretty good here for that global aspect. That would be extremely useful. But Lunara will be picked up too, and her poison damage, as well as the vision that she provides, with her wisp, she can then send it to the enemy boss, and that gives vision for your team, so oh, my wisp is gone, they could potentially be starting their boss. Let's either go flank them if we have the talent advantage, or let's just go start ours and, get that counter push, and then, they have to respond to ours, we respond to theirs, or we get some picks, then, So there's a lot of options, and Lunara does provide a really key vision, and she can also keep that Ariel pretty full on her healing bar. So on the side of ReGen, last 2 picks here. One should be Lost Vikings. Now, only if that Zeratul got banned out, maybe. But definitely, I would be interested to see... Thrall would work out here, but I don't know how people feel about him after his rework. He feels alright to me, but at the same time, I just feel like there's still other heroes that do a little bit better. We are going to see Leoric and Falstad, so we do see that global that we did talk about just now, but Leoric is quite interesting. He is the tank killer, so he does counter the Tyrael Arthas pretty good if he just goes full spooky hand build. And then you have the you have the slows from Falstad's hammer, you have the slows from Leoric, you have the stuns from Anubarak, the stuns from Uther. So literally Genji just post 10, he just hits R and Dragon Blades everybody because they can't escape because they're moving so slow or they're stunned out. But definitely, I'd like to see some sort of melee damage out of Shoulda Ran. Curious to see what they'd be going here. Tychus would work a little bit because of his poke as well as against the 2 tanks, but at the same time, that doesn't really build up that front line any better. As well as, having an off healer wouldn't be too bad, so like a Tassadar would work out really well also. But that Zeratul is actually going to be picked up. Interesting. We're going to have the creepy face Zeratul. I guess he does... I don't really see a target for Zeratul. Falstead maybe, because he can get sticky on him with the Vorpal Blade at 1 if you do go that way with the double blink later on as well. So you can provide that, you know, get in, get out damage. But overall, it's going to be interesting. All right, and we are loading into Cursed Hollow. We are going to have Murda on Falstead, Turtles on Genji, Savior on Uther, Templar Art. I need to get these phonetic pronunciations from these guys. On Anubarak, Danix on Leoric. And then on the side of Shoulda Ran, we are going to have Baina Lunara, is that an O or Rose-kun on Ariel, Zalian on Tyrael, Archetype on Arthas, and McNider on Zeratul. So lane matchup wise, you'd probably be seeing Arthas solo laning against like Leoric, and then you'll have Falstead in the bottom lane so he can rotate, and then you'll do your 3-man with Uther, Genji mid, as well as Anubarak. And then you'll probably run the Lunara. Oopsie. Right in the bottom of the page. Prepare yourself. You'll probably have the Lunara Ariel running together with the Zeratul, maybe? I don't know if you want to put your 2 tanks in the off lane, but here we go into our first match. And actually, I need to transition my scenes. There we go. Now we have scores and everything. All right, so first time pickup, we are going to be seeing the standardized pickup from Falstead. We're actually going to see the agile dismount from the Genji. Leoric's waiting on his. Uther does have his Wave of Light. Lunara's holding hers. We're going to see the Swift Strike from Ariel. Curious to see what these last second snap picks are going to be. And we are going to see the Nubarian Armor and the Spooky Hand. We're going to see Zeratul Vorpal Blade, standard pick from Arthas. Lunara's still holding out on hers, but we'll check back on that, just in case we potentially see a pick happening here. Genji just spotting out those bushes. The sprays do go down. Falstead is just going to work on getting the blades back. But it does not look like we have anything that's going to be happening just yet. We're going to see the rotations out of Leoric and Falstead. As we said, those are going to be the solo laners. We are going to see Tyrael, Ariel, and Lunara. So we are going to have Zeratul solo laning against the Leoric. I don't think that's going to work out too well. He would probably be better up against Falstead. I think Zeratul would, do a little bit. He'd be a little bit stronger against that Falstead. But until then, we're going to see actually Tyrael rotating down and is going to be pressuring out this Leoric, and we're going to see the Zeratul rotating back into the mid lane. This is definitely this is the matchup that I'm curious to see, because definitely with the Ariel, Zeratul, and Lunara, that is a lot of damage and a lot of control if you can whip someone into, you know, stun them into a corner. Just checking up into top. Does not look like we have. Falstead is going to be. Ooh, we're actually going to see a rotation on Zeratul for a flank. The root does miss, but Zeratul is here with the follow-up damage. He does have the bubble blade. He can still go back in, but the tower range is too much for him. Checking into mid. We still have this. So what we're going to see out of Ariel and Lunara. Yeah, Ariel and Lunara. They're going to play the safe game by the gates. They don't want to get kicked off here. We are going to see a rotation out of the Genji into top lane. Leoric looks like he is pushing this Tyrael back quite a bit. We're actually going to see Genji in this bush, so he is faking that he's gone. He's going to come in here and try and get a little bit extra damage onto that Ariel, but we're going to see Zeratul working in the lane. He could. Oh, he was going for that Genji, but he got dash away at the last second. We should see in the next 20 seconds, we're going to see the first curse point, or excuse me, tribute point. That can either be in top middle or bottom middle. And there's actually a slight algorithm you can figure out from it. So Falstead being in top lane, not going to really need to use that global. Zeratul did get a little bit of damage onto that Genji, but it's not going to be doing too much. We're going to see pretty much just even experience at this point, a little bit in the favor of the side of Shoulda Ran, probably because they just had a little quicker rotation. So we're going to see that Arthas is scouted out. Ariel does the flip onto a new drag. Zeratul is in the backline, does dash out, just going to be fine. A little bit of control coming out of the side of Murda, but... Or excuse me, ReGen. we are going to see the small collapse onto a Nubrak from the tower, I think actually got the last shot onto him. New York is going to have to Wraith walk away, but Arthas is there for the root, maybe? Nope, he just gets to use a spooky hand and walk straight away with full health. Or, well, with health. So we're going to see the first tribute going over to this team of Shoulda, who basically came in late, but at the same time, they just had overall pressure that really did a ton. Ooh, Zeratul, you're so close. No. Whew. That was really close. Falstad did use his talent, or his mount there, so he just flew straight into bottom, being able to get those stacks a little bit quicker without anyone kind of getting onto him. But we are going to see this rotation. I'm curious. Okay, that's just pushed in. Zeratul is coming in for this flank. I'm curious to see the body blocks are out from material, but there is the follow-up damage from Zeratul. Doesn't.
I grow tired of this petty sweat.
We're going to see the next tribute that is going to be in top right. So at this point we have had tribute in top middle and top right. So the next one should be, by just the way that this kind of works, it should be in this bottom area over here. It should be bottom left next. Let's see if we can just get a quick peek at who's going to be rotating in from where. Looks like Zeratul's going to be late. Falstad probably does have fly, so it looks like, yep, we're going to see him called flying in right now. We are going to see the small collapse onto the Lure. He is going to be able to get a couple auto attacks off the archetype. He looks like he'd be able to get out. Falstad does very well in for the extra damage, but he is body blocked. Looks like the poison is so much onto Falstad, he might be able to get away. Nope, he actually gets killed by the poison and the follow-up damage. Looks there's a stun onto Shoulda. They're so low, they just need to get that little bit of follow-up damage for those resets onto Genji's dash. We are going to see a Hearth out of Archetype just to get full, and it looks like they're going to have to give up this tribute point.
New follower detected.
Oh, thank you so much. All right, and so coming back into our laning phase, we should have the next one coming into bottom left. So what we're going to see here is we're actually going to see exactly that. Falstad is going to be in top lane. He can use his ability to fly by the time that tribute is up, so he can soak to the last minute, which is going to be extremely beneficial. Gets them closer to 10, and allows them to push up the lanes a little bit, so that way the towers are going to be using shots onto those minions, and that way if you have shots on the cannons, you can get a little bit of extra sieging, which is just, all in all, extremely important for your team. Especially with that global presence, you really just want to focus on pushing the lanes up and getting those extra auto attacks damage from your Season Marksman stuff. We are going to see this camp getting picked up here on the side of Shoulda. Extremely important because, well, I guess since the tribute is bottom, it's going to be in the same lane where the team should be. But at the same time, ooh, Genji with the double dash kill, and that is extremely important on the side of ReGen. Because without Arthas for the next 10 seconds, I mean, he's going to be basically spawning when the tribute pops. And so he's going to have to rotate into lane. Genji's already on his way in. Falstad saving his flight, it looks like, because he can just rotate straight in with the team. Doesn't need to worry about that. Uther will have this cap, I believe. I don't think they have the poke damage for this, especially with the zoning that's coming out of ReGen. Really, really smart on their side. And this is something you can definitely do in your own team leagues. Once you get the point, there's the flight. Once you get the objective, you don't need to keep fighting over it. You can just walk straight away. You got the point. Just go back and soak. Soak for 10, group up, get some kills, and start snowballing the map in your favor. And that's exactly what we're seeing. You know, the point was got, and Falstad, you saw, flew straight to top. And what they're trying to do.
New follower detected.
Thank you so much. I gotta fix that text size. Sorry about that. So we are going to see this hard camp on the side of Shoulda. And the important thing to see here, to know about this map... Oh, he just gets away at the last second. So at this point, the way the curses work, the first three are, you know, you can kind of predict them. It's middle, and then it's going to be left or right. But now that we're on the fourth curse point, what it does is it actually resets. So this one can be literally anywhere on the map, and then you can kind of just guess at that point where it's going to be coming in. But we are going to see a rotation out of Shoulda, but it looks like their rotation is just a little too slow. And they're going to have to give up that one as well. We are going to see the false step in mid. He's going to be clearing up that camp. That was that. And this was extremely smart of Shoulda Brand because what they did was they created this mid pressure that was really strong, but they didn't get to the curse point in time. So unfortunately for them, they didn't get as much out of that. They did get the cannon shots and they got about half the power, which is really, really good. But Leoric is going to be falling, unfortunately. We are going to see Genji. I think he did actually finish his... No. Oh, he finished the first half of it. Sorry. I see Leoric and I thought he was getting collapsed upon by these 3 people, but they're just going to be getting a gate here. And that's really strong for them because they can work towards that lane sustain that well. Coming out of the heroes, it does not look like we're seeing anything out of the ordinary. We are seeing actually Divine Storm instead of Divine Shield. Interesting. So I'm curious to see what kind of wombo, but there is the Sanctification, so you can look to see later in the game those boss deals are going to be quite epic. Zeratul coming in because the Falstad is just pushing into this top lane. And will Murda see it coming? The root does go onto him. Zeratul is de-pushing the lane. And here we go. In the top left, we are going to have this next curse point. Zeratul. No. Slow rotation coming out of the bottom lane. At this point, though, it is a little hard to predict where it will be coming. And we are going to see a stun onto that Zeratul, so he will have to back off until he can get his invisibility, so he can use that trait of just getting in and getting that damage from the backline. Void Prism onto the Uther, so there are no heals currently. The Gust to disengage, but Falstad does die. The Void Prism just ended, so Uther does... Oh, the Sanctification does come out. And now that there's no Sanctification, wait to see the D-Storm. Crystal Aegis is there. There's the D-Storm for the disengage. We are going to see Genji just tapping. Well, it looks like he will be able to come back in soon, but Lunara does get the... oh my god. Leaping Strike. I just had a brain fart there. But we are going to see a curse on the side of Shoulda Rand, who basically... That Void Prism on that Uther was so critical. And that really is what sealed the deal for that fight, because of the fact that Uther couldn't get there and get those extra points of damage, or that extra healing onto his friendly team, which is so critical. And the Void Prism just completely isolates him. It's just the same as like a Newberry Web Wrap onto R. So we are going to see this guaranteed fort. They're just going to focus on a fort and then spread down to the other lanes. I'd be interested to see if they're not going to every lane, because the most important thing to do here at this point is to soak. And you definitely want to see the team trying to get a decent level advantage here, but they are going to just rotate as a 5-man. Leaping Strikes are out onto this Leoric, and he will not be able to be healed by the Uther, who looks like he's just going to get locked down himself. The stun does come out, but he does get killed by, I think Arceus got the extra damage onto him. We are going to see Falstad. He is going to be rotating up into this lane. Genji will be just trying to get a little bit of poke damage out here, trying to complete his Shuriken talents all the way. Checking into talents, looks like a lot of the questing talents on the side of Shoulda Rand is just about done, and we're about halfway through most of them on the side of ReGen. With the small advantage that they have with the Uther death currently, Shoulda Rand will go ahead and take the boss. They do have their 5-man on it, so it shouldn't be a problem at all. In response, though, ReGen will be getting this hard camp. Leoric does scout out the boss on their side just to make sure that their enemy team is not there. But that is going to be an easy boss, and I'm curious to see, since they did take out this top fort, which was extremely smart to do on their curse, it's going to be pushing that keep front gate. And I don't think they're going to get a keep with this, but what it does is you can now see the entire enemy team of ReGen on the map. No. We're just going to see Falstad on that. We're actually going to see the entire team converging into this. Falstad does have Fly. They do have that Gust control, but Sanctification is up. So this is what I was talking about with the Sanctification Holy Ground. They don't have 16 for the Holy Ground, but I'm curious to see if they're going to just, heroes just can jump on that point, pop Sanctification, get the extra damage out. Anyone who tries to collapse, or maybe Falstad could fly in with Gust at the last second. I don't know how much that boss has done at the top. I'm really interested to see. There is Arthas, though, zoning out really well. The Sanctification is not used. The Aegis is out onto Arthas, which is extremely important to keep him alive. And this is what they've got at this point. So Falstad does fly into bottom to help clear up this boss. They did say, as I was saying, they got the keep gate. At this point, though, with Shoulda Rand, they can literally just run the whole map. They're just going to go around picking up the camp, pushing out their lanes, waiting for the next curse to pop, and I think they're just going to force a fight at 16 on the next objective. But at the same time, they are giving up a lot of damage onto that top fort. Well, I mean, I guess a top fort for a keep front gate is actually really, really strong, as well as this hard camp here will secure the well. Maybe not with the Genji there. But we are going to see a rotation out of Shoulda ran here. They're definitely going to be just pushing their lanes back, get their mana back up, and the next tribute point should be any second. Lunara could potentially get this. No, I think this is going to be a fort. But at the same time, that's not bad, because the next boss that does push will be getting this, or at least the next curse will definitely get that.
Who gathers
Oh, that is just perfect timing on the side. I actually forgot. I was forgetting to do my math, because I think it was top middle, then it was bottom left, so top right was, yeah. I don't know if they purposely did that or if it just happened to be that way, but that was extremely good timing on there. So we are going to see this. They're going to have to just, on the side of ReGen, they're going to have to give this up, try and get 16s, get to the even talent tier, push them to 8. That way their boss lane is just as strong. And we are going to see, I'm curious to see, Anubrak does get a 4-man stun. They're chasing here. Lunara just has to get in the range of her leaping strike, but he does have to burrow out, and he will be safe. Looks like Team ReGen get the gate, and they're going to hearth right back. Falstad does have flight, I believe, so he can, pull an epic gust into the same time without 16, but it's going to be very hard to do. But Leor caught out of position by the Lunara with so much poison onto her, and that is going to be a 4v5, and it looks like Uther is going to get caught out. The Void Prism onto the Keep, which is actually keeping their team alive from those extra shots. But the Gust just disengaged them, so that didn't really work out too well. But at the same time, they're just buying time. They have to poke until the Arcus or the Leor gets back. He is already. He just can spawn right in the battlefield. He does get the Wraith walk out. He can get the slow on. No, he's going to get the Entomb and the slow onto the Arcus. So much damage, but the Signification does come out. Falstad doesn't have Gust at this point. There is no disengage. The D-Storm Gust does come out, but there is also the Crystal Aegis, and we're going to see Leoric falling here. Lunara does get the poison onto Genji, but he does get the reset kill onto the Zeratul. And so that is going to be a 2-for-1 trade in the favor of ReGen. Oh no, Genji! So it's going to be, and that's what I get for thinking that they walked away on top of that one. So that was an even trade. Genji did die from the poison, but unfortunately they're going to have to give up this tribute, it looks like, because of the fact that the positioning, the lanes, they just need to soak up and get a little bit closer. Looks like Falstad's just going to be stealthily hiding in this bush, just getting a couple extra stacks. Speaking of, while they get the support, let's take a peek. Falstad is almost done. Uther did finish his. Genji is almost done with his. I can't see because of the bar. Ariel looks like she's about halfway through hers. And we're getting to our late game, which is going to be high damage output. Let's actually talk about that damage output in the meantime while people are just kind of rotating, pushing out their lanes. The Lunara way she's building, and she did get the giant killer, so that is extremely strong against the double tank composition inside of ReGen. But at the same time, Falstad has his giant killer, so once he gets his damage out, that's important too. We're going to see Genji in the push here. Looks like they're going to be posturing up to try and guarantee the support. Genji does get into lane. He is trying to get all this damage onto the Darkness. The Void Prism does come out. The Gust actually to separate. But it looks like Arthas will just use his army of damage. The Tomb comes out at the last second. The stun too, and that is extremely strong. But Murda just gets annihilated. The D-Storm does come out, but the Crystal Aegis is there to protect against the Genji swipe. He does have to disengage here. Zeratul wall walk away, but with barely any help, he go off the hearth. This is going to be a 3-man chase, but the Lunara poison is so insane right now. And it looks like Ariel will rotate into this lane. Oh no, Genji. And the poison gets the best of Genji again, and this is going to be another curse on the side of Shoulda. A small benefit for the side of Team ReGen, or excuse me, ReGen. They did get the fort up top, so that does give them a little bit more late game experience, but this is going to be a guaranteed keep on the side of Shoulda. We are going to see a 4-man rotation in here. They don't really need to play too safe because of the fact that they have the curse point. Or they have the curse, as well as the fact they do have their 20s. So, just looking at that jump. Lunara is holding her 20, but we are going to have the whole arena coming out from Tyrael as well. And it looks like nothing out of ordinary. The Attune does come out onto the Ariel. She does Crystal Aegis herself, so she does get that disengage from ReGen, who hops onto the enemy team. And it looks like Anub'arak will die from that poison. Genji is in that backline poking as much as he can, but it's not going to be working out for him. The poison onto Genji. This root does miss him, but he does buy enough time. And what ReGen is doing here is actually extremely important. They've actually saved a lot of... They saved the game by basically delaying with a couple of deaths. I was hoping this would work out for them, but it looks like they're going to be just pushing into this harder. I was thinking they would disengage once they didn't have the curse anymore, but it looks like the Lunara is going to be trying to put down all that damage. They all are hull stones, so they do have the healing, but they don't have anyone for another 21 seconds, so it's just 3v5, and this does not look good. The Entomb does come out, but the Holy Arena is there, and it looks like they're just going to be pushing into this. It does get so much damage out. The Tyrael does fall, but that is going to be GG. The first game going over to Should've Ran. Shoulda ran. I looked over to chat really quick. Poor Genjo. Yes, poor Genjo. All right. Meanwhile, we'll set up our next lobby, but let's just take a quick peek at some of these, some of this damage and some of these talents and XP contribution. So we are actually going to see almost exactly the same XP contribution from Lunara and Falstad. But keep in mind, Lunara doesn't really have a global. She just has faster speed. So that's interesting to see that she puts out just as much, actually 101 more experience than the Falstad who had the global. But you do see the siege damage that Falstad can provide. I think I would have rather seen on the side of ReGen that Dahaka ban. I wish they kind of would have picked it up instead of the Falstad. But that was only game 1 of 5, because we're going to go to 5 games. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break. I'm going to set up the assets for the next round, and we're going to set up the lobby, and we will see you in 5 minutes, hopefully. There we go. All right, and welcome back. I kept muting and unmuting myself. All right, we are back, and game number 2 is going to be on Battlefield of Eternity. We're going to have the first pick, first ban on this side of Shoulda Ran, which means that ReGen picked up the Battlefield. Battlefield of Eternity, 2-lane map with the Immortals spawning, I think it's every 145. Every time they die, you 145 from there, the new Immortal phase. Going on to that, though, some of the people that you definitely want to watch out for here, ban or first pick, definitely going to be your Greymane or your Vala. The two probably the most critical people on this map, because you can absolutely wreck a Immortal with that factor. But we are going to see the Genji ban on the side of Shoulda Ran, which is interesting because maybe they're trying to force something out of ReGen. I'm interested to see. Huh. First Genji ban's a little weird to me. I'm just not sure what they're going to be going for here. Genji overall is a fairly good hero, and he has played in almost pretty much every match because of the way that he can dash around the map. As once he gets resets, just like how Li Ming gets them, he can just keep dashing through, in and out. On the side of ReGen, I'm interested to see what their first ban would be. The global presence of Dahaka isn't that important on this map, mostly because of the fact that it is just a 2-lane map, so the rotations aren't insanely heavy, but the utility that he does provide with the tongue drag and his adaptation, so he has almost 3 life bars at that point if he does have a full stack of essence. So I mean, he's just difficult to deal with. But we are going to see a ban on Uther, which, if you watch any most meta game, he is almost first pick at this point. So a first ban on Uther isn't a bad idea at all. You're still also limiting that top tier healer pool. First pick on the side of Shoulda Ran is going to be interesting. Curious to see what they'd be going here. As I was saying, that Greymane Vala is really good, but I don't know if you want to first pick something like that. Greymane just melts the Immortal, as well as Vala with her her Hungering Arrow. But there it is. There's that Greymane first pick, who is really strong on this map. I would not be surprised to see a Vala Ariel pickup here, mostly because of the fact that Vala works really well. As I've said a bajillion times already, Vala works so well on this map, and the fact that she's a really good battery for Ariel, and since she wasn't banned out, I would hope to see ReGen maybe pick that up. I think that's a really good first round pick. But then again, these guys play way above my skill level. I'm still trying to contemplate what they would be picking up here. I just really like the combination that they can get, and then even then you can also pick up a subsequent healer like a Tassadar. And if you really wanted, you don't have to get the Aegis. You can go ahead and get that revive. But we are going to see the Ariel Varian pickup here, which is interesting. Varian extremely strong with his taunt build. Sorry, just reading messages, trying to make sure that everything looks good. All right, so we do have the Greymane picked up on the side of Shoulda Ran. Really, really good pick here. Comboing that into... I'm trying to think what would just work well against him. I mean, if you went ahead and just picked up the Anubarak, would be really good for the dive stun, as well as his... I mean, basically, his entire kit is a stun. But picking up like an Anubarak and like a Rhaegar would be pretty good here. Rhaegar does provide that ancestral healing, so that burst of, that second health bar that you can throw on a Greymane who's in the back line is so strong. But we're actually going to see Malfurion Vala here. So we're actually going to see... Wow. The burn potential on the side of Shoulda Ran is scary, in my opinion. I'm curious to see what ReGen will respond with, but definitely they're going to want to focus on banning out a tank at this point because Shoulda Ran has a strong melee, also ranged assassin, Greymane. They also have their Vala, who can just sit there and melt an immortal, and you have a really strong healer, Malfurion. So definitely limiting the tank pool. Something like, if you don't plan on taking it yourself, the Anub'arak would be really strong here. He's a very good ban. That way you can actually, pick up a couple spellcasters who can do that damage because, you're taking away someone who has that Nubarian armor, which is just constantly shielding him. And that's exactly what we're going to see. We're going to see the Anub'arak band out here. Because what I'm curious to see is if ReGen will actually... They have a strong healer, a strong tank. They can go with something like an off-tank, like a Sonya will work really well here. But also picking up like a Li Ming. Like a Li Ming's poke damage is so good on this map. Especially with... I mean, if you can get a couple resets... I mean, she just snowballs so hard. But on the side of Shoulda Ran, I'm curious to see what they'd be... Because ReGen did a smart thing here. They picked up a tank and a healer. So at this point, you're just trying to limit the assassin pool, which, if anyone plays this game, knows the assassin pool is like 90% of the hero pool at this point. It's way less than that, but still. It's just there's so many assassins, so it's kind of hard to target ban. Gul'dan does work really well here for the wave clear, as well as the dots that he can put out and the damage over time that he has. I don't really think the new Malfurion can really heal through that amount of late game. With those usually you go corruption stacks, and those corruption stacks late game, I mean, they can just chunk out someone like a Vala or a Greymane because of their smaller health pools. And with Malfurions just healing over time, it doesn't really work well against that damage over time. On the side of ReGen for their next pickup, they definitely need someone they can race the Immortal with. So that's why, I mean, Sonya isn't the best, but I do think she is a strong off-tank. She can solo lane very well, so you can run a 1-4. You can put Sonya in your top lane and run a 4-man in bottom. That's extremely strong because you'll probably end up just laning against Greymane in top. Sonya versus Greymane. Sonya, I think she'll struggle early game, but she'll do really well late game. But actually, we're going to see Artanis and... Oh my god, Artanis and Tassadar. This is going to be interesting. I'm curious. Is this going to be a Tracer pick? This has to be a Tracer pick. Tracer goes so well. I mean, you have a strong front line with your Varian Artanis. You've got Tassadar for the shields. And, he's probably going to go Templar's Will, so he's going to go, a Sassadar build. But Tracer works really well here, and she does have that, she has that get in, get out damage, and she does have the damage for the Immortal race, too, for her constant firing. Interesting. On the side of Shoulda Ran, though, I would expect to see a tank, if not a double tank pickup here. I think they definitely need a strong front line with that Artanis because of the way that he can swap people out. Especially late game if he gets the double swap that he can get, I think, at 16. So we already see the Tyrael. And Leoric. Okay, that's what I was curious to see. So Leoric will work really well against the Varian Artanis because of the fact that he does have that spooky hand build. I did say that last time, and that didn't go so well. But you never know. I mean, I really think that this is going to be a Tracer pick, though. I can't think of any other hero who would work well for the Immortal phase unless they just want to build a strong comp, fight, win the fight, and then just burn it down, with their own free time. That's another way to approach the map. You don't always have to race the Immortal or have, a strong Immortal team. You could just win every team fight and then just take the Immortal after the team fight. Or it's just going to be, or they can just go Murky, just, why not? Just go Murky. No, that wouldn't work out too well on this map, I don't think. There it is. And that's exactly what I predicted. Tracer right there. All right. This is going to be an interesting map. I'm really curious to see how the racing is going to work out here, because I really think on the side of Shoulda Ran, they have a stronger race team, but overall in a team fight, I think ReGen works a little bit better here. here we go. I'm excited. This is going to be a real good match. All right, and on the side of ReGen, on the left, we are going to have Murda on Tassadar, Turtles on Tracer, Danex on Artanis, Savior on Ariel, and Templart on Varian. On the right-hand side, we are going to have Shoulda Ran. We're going to have Bane on Greymane, Archetype on Leoric, McKnighter on Vala, Roku... Oh, man. I'm going to try this because I have a little bit of time. Rokuzinukun. I don't know. Like, Razkan? That has to be it. Razkan on Malfurion and Zalian on Tyrael. I'm just really good at murdering people's names in game. Alrighty, and let's take a peek at these first talents. It looks like we are going to have the Pulse rounds, Pulse Strike from Tracer. We're going to have the Templar Will, as we talked about. See the standard overpower from...
The battle begins in 10 seconds.
Okay, we're going to see the Swifts. And it looks like on the side of Shoulda Ran, they're just going to hold all of their first talents.
5,
they don't want me to
4,
talk about anything that they're going to be
3,
doing.
2, 1.
Actually, he took Amateur Opponent. I'm interested. So we are going to see Artanis in that top lane. That was where I was referring to having the Sony in the top lane, but Artanis does very well as a solo laner. Looks like he's just going to play that gate game currently. And we are going to see, actually, it's going to be Leoric versus Artanis in top. This bottom lane is going to be a little difficult. So let's see. Here we go into our second game of 5. Well, best of 5. Doesn't look like we're going to have too much of a... It's just standardized laning. They're not going to be pushing in too hard on each other. Let's just take a peek back up in top, though. Ooh, this Artanis is pushing in his Leoric, but he does have the spooky hand to get the healing right back up. And actually, I just noticed Leoric took block. He didn't take the leech town at level 1, which is interesting. Vala did start her Q build. Did Tyrael take... Okay, he took Purge Evil. I thought I don't play enough Tyrael, but I thought for a second, I was like, did he take Even in Death? Really? Did you see the Eldraine's Might? Just a little bit forward. He can? Okay. I was going to say, he kept going for that engage. And I didn't think about this. Assassidar and the Ariel work really well together, too. Because of the fact that you can just sit there and fill the bar. We do have, it is about 1:45. We are going to see our first Immortal phase. And it looks like everyone's just playing safe at this point. Standardized, just lane, get to 4, and we are going to have a drop currently. Are they going to be pausing? Or, okay, no, he rejoined right away. Alright, and we are going to see a small engaged Roots 2 come out. Varian trying to get onto that. The whip does come out onto the Greymane, and that is the CC that you get from Ariel. Ariel, who can whip like that. She does really well on this map because the fact that she can whip people into those small corners. And since there's so much, structure around to fight against it, she's really, really good at... Oh, but the stun comes out, the Pulse Bound onto Leoric, and that is the first kill of the game for ReGen. And we're going to see this Tracer get a little sticky onto the Greymane, getting down to half health. He's just going to back right out. And this is what I'm curious, the Malfurion, he does have really good late game abilities with his Twilight Dream. But at this point, I don't know if he can heal through damage of Assassidar and Tracer. Tracer is just getting into this Leoric so bad constantly. Meanwhile, we are going to see on the left side of the map, we're just going to see Artanis. He's just going to be slowly working down one Immortal. Just whatever, no big deal. We're going to see Tyrael be falling here as well. Tracer will have that blink out, and it looks like... Wow, she's just so deep. Oh, she was so close to getting that kill too. But it looks like they're doing an amazing job. While Artanis is just sitting there proccing the halfway phase. Did we not? Oh no, they already switched, so they can just sit there and melt it if they want. So we already see a collect on the Leoric. He's just gonna barely get away. Tracer, does she get the blink forward? Nope, she's gonna have to. Ooh, and she was just a little too far forward there, but Ariel is gonna be able to keep her alive and keep her safe with the whip too. She whipped it real good. But at the same time, we are going to see the benefit of Shoulda Ran's comp. They just melted that Immortal at the last second. They were having a good amount of poke damage onto it, which is, you know, part of their comp as well. They do have the range from Greymane, the poke from Vala, so they definitely have the ability to poke down an Immortal. But the team fighting on the side of ReGen is really strong. And what we're actually going to see is they're just going to not push with. They're going to go ahead and split push this entire gate, guarantee this. Can they take out the lane sustain is the question. We're going to see the Tracer respond in time. Arcanus will be in bottom to burn down the rest of that Immortal. The roots do get Varian here. And we're just going to see an easy disengage. At this point, standardized, you can probably see in 145 we're going to have our next Immortal phase. So at this point, a lot of people artifacts for mana, lane up for 7, and get a couple camps before the next phase. We're going to see Leoric make that rotation down into Arcanus. But currently, it is a 3v4. Tracer does get... Nope. Okay. They go right on the Tracer, which is full back up to health. Pulse Bomb does go onto Greymane, and he gets blown across the map, and he's gone. And that's a key kill. He'll be up just in time for the Immortal, but this means that ReGen, they can just go up, they can take this camp, and it's going to be uncontested because they do not have their Greymane for that extra damage. And it would just be a 4v1, or 4v3. Meanwhile, they can also leave their Tacit Arc to just soak the lane, get the experience that's needed. Greymane did just pop, so he will be back in time, but Tracer is onto this Tyrael, who is a little far forward. The slow is out from Varian. I'm forgetting his name so much. But there is going to be the healing from Malfurion just to keep Tyrael alive, and he is just hard to kill. Checking in to see these talents really quick. Oh, Vala. I'm sorry. I went to go look at the bottom lane really quick just to see how the structure's real, and Vala just gets annihilated. And that was actually, once again, I mean, they're getting these picks, but they're getting them just a little too early. Because now we see the Immortal is just spawning. Looks like we have 2 people dropping from the game currently. I'm curious to see if there is going to be a pause that comes out.
There is no escape.
One has rejoined. Leoric is going to be Wraith walking away. The Greymane is currently a bot. I don't know if his team has noticed that. But we are going to see the Immortal being burned down here really quickly. Will get stunned out, but that is because he's a bot. They're going to take the dive onto Varian. Tracer is just melting the Leoric in the back line. We are going to see him fall to the right, and Greymane will be falling as well. The stun onto the Tyrael too, and Tracer's just going to get into the backline and just cause a whole lot of problems. The slow out from Varian is so critical onto the Tyrael, but he just gets right away. And meanwhile, we're just going to have Arcanus slowly working away the Immortal. Alright, and the positioning on the side. This is going to be really good for the side of Shoulda because it is on their protected side. They do have their Greymane back. He is actually a human again. There is a root onto the Arcanus, but he has such a high health pool. And oh no, Tracer's going to get locked down. And the swap out from Arcanus onto that Tyrael is so critical, but he's going to fall himself. And that's a 2-for-1. Varian's very low here. Does he get the Moonburn? The Gilneas just barely misses him. The roots do too. There's a full retreat. There's the whip from Ariel. She does get a little bit of health taken out from her, but this is where we're going to see Shoulda Ran's comp just explode. Look at the Immortal just get... The health just gets literally erased. Stuns out onto the Greymane, but he just takes the stun, and they get the second Immortal of the game. With the push that did happen, though, this is extremely important. They did get a little bit of damage into this fort. Looks like the Immortal will be going bottom again, so we are going to see the standardized rotation, but I think ReGen is aware of this, and they are going to be prepared for this team fight. Arcanus will be bottom, so it is going to be a 4v5, but we are going to see the whip coming out. Tracer is onto that Leoric. He's just melting that health. It looks like we're just going to see Arcanus is just... And it looks like all they wanted to do here is just pull their team to top while they guaranteed a fort. And that was actually a really interesting tactic. I've never seen that. Oh, they faked the back. Are they going to go back in for the... Okay. And it looks like the side of ReGen, they're not sure either because they don't see their team hearthing back. they see them back into mid, so they go or into
The
top lane,
demon's
so they have to
attack
rotate
has
back.
failed. Yet we have not
Tyrael
seen
does
the
go
end
in,
of it.
trying to use his Eldrain's Might just to get that last bit of damage onto the fort. He's trying so hard. The swaps do come out, and he gets the last Eldrain's onto the fort.
Hero slain.
And sorry, I missed that. As Tracer, I'm assuming Tracer just ran up and just pulse rounded him. But we are going to see 10s for both teams. Let's quickly check these talents. While some of the camps and the rotations do come out of the teams. We are going to see Archon. We are going to see the Quantum Spike. We're going to see the Silence from Artanis, the Crystal Aegis from Ariel, and Taunt from ReGen. We're actually going to see go for the throat, not the Cursed Bullet, which is interesting. Huh. Interesting. They're going to take that, I guess, capitalizing on the Tracer and Tassadar kills is really good. Especially with the Entomb, oh my god, the Entomb Judgment and the Rain of Vengeance. I'm curious to see if they're going to Entomb Rain of Vengeance, because we're actually going to see a lockdown onto the Tyrael. The body block was, okay, so there was a body block on both sides, but the Tracer did have the back off there. In the bottom, we are going to see Artanis is getting bugged by this Leoric. I don't know if Leoric knows this, but I don't think he can 1v1 Artanis. Especially the way that Artanis has been moving, building his character, or his hero. I don't think, does he have increased the damage? He does have the shield overload. Okay. We are going to see this invade into this camp on the side of Shoulda Ran. This is really, wow. They just don't want anything to do with that team fight. The pulse round does come out, but the silence is there, so there is no blink out for a couple seconds. The judgment onto the, oh, the whip really gets that, and that Tyrael is so far because of the judgment. He does try and get a little bit of damage onto this Tracer, but it looks like she'll just be getting out just okay. And I think they're just going to try and race at this point, which I don't think is going to work out too well for them. The Leoric is low, and I do think they see it, but it looks like they're going to race for the transition. Bane will be stunned out. There's people standing in the stuns. Oh no. But at this point, we're going to see on the side of Shoulda Ran, or actually on the side of ReGen, they're going to have a little bit less health to deal with. And it looks like they're just going to go ahead and try and race this last little bit. But look at the, oh my god. And that was actually really interesting. They took the blind out onto Shoulda Ran just in hopes of, you know, beating them in the race. But if you watch the health bar, I mean, it went from 12,000 to 8,000 in a split second. The nice thing that I will say, Tracer did lane. She did go ahead, and what they're gonna do is they're gonna go ahead and get the 13s. They will put them at a talent advantage against Shoulda Ran, which means that Shoulda Ran has to play a little bit safer here. Oh, excuse me, I completely missed that. I completely said that backwards. My mistake. They burned it down so quickly, and they got the win. So the third mortal actually going over to ReGen. That was my mistake. Looking at the health bars differently, but at the same time, the damage output that you do see from Shoulda Ran, they do save their fort potentially. The Entomb does come out, the whip is there, the Aegis is there also. You see the Rain of Vengeance, but there is the huge silence that, and the Malfurion actually falls. The taunt is onto the Tyrael, there is the blind from Artanis. Tracer does get out of the damage from the trait from Arthas. We're going to see Tracer into this Rain main. Does she get the kill? Yep, she's going to dive forward and try and get the double kill, actually. She does have recall, if I'm not mistaken, but she will just go ahead and walk away from this just fine. Ooh, and that is going to be a team wipe on the side of Shoulda Ran. Malfurion is back up. All he can really do is poke and get some roots, but at this point, he's just going to want to play the safe game. At this point, I don't think they're going to be getting the keep, but they're definitely going to get the keep front wall. And they're going to back off here. I would not be surprised to see some camp pickups here. They should definitely take out this lane sustain because that is extremely useful for a team. You don't want to leave that there. That way, I mean, they don't have to go all the way back to this point. They can just, if they're in lane, they can just tap well and go right back. We are going to see the camp being picked up here on the side of Shoulda Ran. Tracer will rotate into bottom to try and work on this front gate. With that, if they win the next Immortal, they'll be pushing this front gate. You can see in top, this has already been pushed in a little bit, so they're just, if they get the Immortal on the side of Shoulda Ran, they're going to be able to just push right into that fort and guarantee it. At this point, oof. So they are in the same talent tier. They can get this camp up, will push potentially onto the fort if they don't clean it up in time. It looks like there is a response out of actually a 5-man response.
I fight for the glory of the high heavens.
Curious to see if they're going to de-push this top lane for the 16. Looks like they're just going to side soak for the 16. Maybe get a pick. The swap almost hits the Vala there, and that could have been so critical. Ooh. Chat and confirm. My mic is quiet. Try it right there. If that works, that should be a little bit better. And we are going to see... Oh my god. I missed it completely. I'm sorry, but there was the Vala just got imploded. Dazzler just stood there and just lasered that Vala and Malfurion and Leoric. And this is almost going to be a team wipe. It looks like they're just going to play it safe on the side of Shoulda Ran. Looks like, yep, it's just going to be a Immortal for ReGen. All right. And it looks like we're going to have just, at this point, the smartest thing they can do is they're going to have to forfeit this Immortal. They're going to get a couple camps to push up the lanes a little bit here, distract Shoulda ReGen a little bit during this next phase. I don't think it's going to work out too well for them. My mic is a little bit quiet. Is it any better, guys? Sorry if it was. I tried to turn up my gain on my actual mic. If not, I'll just change it up in OBS really quick. Alrighty, so we're going to see the deep push coming out of ReGen, but that was actually really convenient for them because of the fact that the camp is bottom and the Immortal is bottom, so they're already rotating the lanes. We're just on to end the swap onto the Tyrael, and he is just going to be annihilated. The trait does not get any value. The blind is out, so they cannot melt down the shields of this Immortal, which will play from the backline while he does have his shields. He doesn't go melee until he loses the shields. We're going to see the swap does not connect. The Rain of Vengeance for, I guess, safety. But definitely we're going to see the fort gone. This is, with the way that the Immortal's going, Tyrael is back up in 2 seconds. He does have Judgment. The 2-man Rain of Vengeance is very good here. We are going to see the Varian dashing forward. And I said, oh, well, it looks like they're going to be disengaging from, looks like they wanted to go in, but not. The swap does come out onto the Leoric, and the Tracer gets the pulse round, and even though he Wraith Swap away, he still gets killed. So this is definitely, with the Leoric dead, this is a guarantee. Especially with 18 to 14. Shoulda Ran, it's not going to be easy for them to come back because of the fact that they are 2 talent tiers down, and they are missing, sounds like the whole mix got quieter instead of just heroes. That's very confusing. I don't know why everything got quieter. We'll have to deal with that after this match. Okay, it sounds better. Cool. Alrighty. So we are going to see this camp getting picked up here on the side of ReGen. At the same time... Oh, I think they see this. I don't think they're going to be responding. No, but... I was going to see if they were going to go in for this engage, but it looks like by the time there's the next Immortal phase, we should see 16s on the side of Shoulda Ran, which will be an even talent tier, and I'm curious to see how they'll be able to respond to the next Immortal phase. So we're going to see this camp got here, picked up here for the side of Shoulda Ran, which will be extremely strong for them if it doesn't get deep pushed. They can definitely get this fort finally, which will push them towards 16. Just trying to see if I see anything out of the ordinary on these talents. This Greymane build is quite interesting. But we are just going to see the full Q build out of Vala. We're not going to actually see the full Spooky build out of Leoric. And actually, Tyrael picked up Burning Rage. Okay, interesting. I don't think that's a standard 13 pick, but I don't play enough Tyrael to know. We're going to see the camp picked up for ReGen. And I'm wondering if they're going to go ahead and pick up that bottom camp as well. And I think with this small minion wave, yep, there's 16. We are going to see... I'm curious to see if we're going to see the camp invade, but nope, it's just going to be given up right away. Tracer does blink in forward and dodges the Rain of Vengeance, but does get stunned. Wow. Follow up. The lockout from the Orc with the Entomb is really good here, but Tracer is just in that backline, melting people. I just wanted us to point out that Tracer was insane, where to see the Rain of Vengeance coming ahead of time and to immediately dash it is just insane play. I have never seen anyone do that before. We're going to see this Immortal will be probably picked up on the side of ReGen, and that should be getting them close to 20. This camp will be cleaned up from the bottom. And unfortunately, should have ran. They're going to have to turtle up here and definitely play the safe game. They could work on these shields a little bit, but it looks like they're just going to work on just deep pushing their bottom lane and hoping for the best when it comes to this next phase, which will be pushing on their keep, which we did see earlier, did lose the wall.
Our glory radiates through this land.
All right. So in bottom lane, we are going to see that it is pushed out because you do want to get rid of those catapult pressure. So since it is pushed out far enough, they don't have to worry about it during this phase. But this is a full shielded Immortal of 20 minutes with 20 talent to your advantage on the side of ReGen. That side wall just got melted, but we do see Tyrael from the bush. Does try and get a little bit here. And then it looks like they're just going to have to turtle and play the safe game. The Endurance Might is there. The roots are there. So it looks like they're just kind of trying to get that hook in. The taunt does come out onto Raven. There is the blinds out as well. And there is the Rain of Vengeance. And actually, Tracer will be falling here. That is the main damage. But also, the Malfurion will be falling too. The Orc is in that backline trying to get as much damage out as possible. But, oh my god, with the dash, that solidifies the kill against the Leoric. And also, Tyrael too. Does he isn't able to use his ability to get much use there. And Bane will be falling too. And this looks like it will be GG on the side for ReGen. And we are going to be 1-1. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take a quick break. We're going to take a check a couple of these talents really quick, and then we're going to see if I can fix whatever sound issues there are. Because, of course, it's just always changing on me. Let's see here. The XP from Artanis is just insane. Wow. 16,000. I mean, the closest on the enemy team was 9,000 from Leoric. I mean, he almost, 2,000 away from doubling it, give or take. I'm not a mathematician, so. But the healing from that Ariel was so good. And just the secondary support, I think the Tassadar is really strong here because of the fact of the Tassadar Tracer combo, because of the fact of the way Tassadar now works with the basic attacks, healing with the Life Leech, I believe, at level 4, or Kala's Embrace, and pairing that into the Tracer is just so strong. We're actually going to see the Shield of Hope from Ariel 2 at 20 is you just keep people alive. That Tracer pick at the end, I was thinking that that was going to be the thing that did it, but it wasn't. It wasn't what swayed the battle. I was hoping, but it didn't happen. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break while we set up the next lobby, and I'm going to fiddle with my sound issues. Alrighty, welcome back. Here we are on Warhead Junction, our third game in our best of 5 series. We have still, if you're welcome to the stream, if you're just starting out, this is a best of 5. It's just a friendly scrim. People getting ready for the Summer Bash tournament that is coming up for Gamers of the Storm. On the left-hand side, we are going to have ReGen, and on the right-hand side, we are going to have Shoulda. ReGen did win the last map, so they went ahead and chose first pick, which means by HGC rules, actually, excuse me, loser gets to pick. So per HGC rules, Shoulda picked the map, so that means that the other choice goes over to ReGen, which means they get first pick, first ban. So I'm curious to see on Warhead Junction what they're going to be banning out here, because Warhead Junction being like one of the largest maps in the game, I believe it's bigger than Curse Hollow. I have to check into that fact, or someone can just tell me. But basically, I do believe. So we're gonna see actually a first ban Uther, which is super strong here actually. But I'm curious as to why they're first banning him if they have first pick. Huh. That's interesting to me, but we are going to see the Dahaka ban here. So I guess maybe they're just trying to force out that Dahaka ban because Dahaka on this map is just so critical. He does just so much with his lane presence, his pushing. It's just so strong. So really, really smart on the side of ReGen to kind of force out that Dahaka ban while also kind of just getting rid of the Uther. I always, it's not a first pick material because you can just counter it with like a Zeratul, but I really want someone to go ahead and just pick up those Lost Vikings. It's also because I have them as, my portrait and they're like my favorite hero in the game because they're fun. But a first pick here, I wouldn't be surprised to see something like a Genji, a top tier healer, just to, if you lock that in, you can focus on banning out healers or, target, you can control the draft a little bit better if you just lock in that first healer. I'm curious to see. We're actually going to see first pick Falstead. So they're going to go ahead and just lock in that global. I wonder, because you can pick up Brightwing here too. I always think about this, like there's a potential to have like an all global comp, because like you can technically go, I think it's Falstead. I mean, Dahaka's already banned out, but it's like Falstead, Dahaka, Abathur, Brightwing, and who I guess TLV would fit that last one because they're technically a global because they have presence in all lanes. But there's an insane comp that I've always been wanting to run on this map where it's just like you have the ability to just always be in every single lane. But on the side of Shoulda, I'm interested to see what they're going to be grabbing here. I have a friend who plays an amazing Brightwing, so I always just try and be like, well, pick up Brightwing because he's sick. We're going to see the Ariel and Artanis picked up here, which Artanis is an extremely good solo laner, so you can just go ahead and throw him in, your bottom top lane, put your Ariel in your mid lane, and then you'll have your Falstead, who will probably be, he won't be in the same lane as Artanis, but he'll definitely be your solo laner on the side of ReGen. Going into their second pick phase, I'm interested. I mean, they've been running this standard draft of, they get, it looks like they kind of get an assassin that they want, and then they get like a healer tank. So I wouldn't be surprised to see something like I want the Brightwing, but I wouldn't be surprised to see like a Rhaegar and a Nubarak. But actually, Genji's going to be picked up here with the Tyrael. Interesting. None of the picks that I would have ever gone for. Huh. I guess Tyrael, there is good boss control that you want to have on this map. So the Sanctification into the Holy Ground, as well as the Gust. I mean, you can just basically have a Falstead fly to top, and if they're on the boss, you gust them out. If you have that chance and there's no cleanse, you can gust them out, steal the boss, E away, and then you're done. Like that's it. That's a free boss on your side. So that's definitely an interesting thing on the side of ReGen. On this for Shoulda, though, their ban here, they're definitely going to want to limit that healer pool, they've already got a top tier healer for themselves. Locking out something like the Rhaegar would be pretty strong for them. Because that way, yep, and that's exactly what we're going to see. But then again, maybe they're playing into that and they actually want the Brightwing. Who knows? We're going to be on the ban side for ReGen. I'm interested to see. No. I'm thinking it's Cho'Gall because he does work on this map. And that's why I just, like I said, no all of a sudden. Because I was like, well. Because the thing is, they have a double pick next. And so you have to pick them in tandem. And Cho'Gall, I don't think it wouldn't work. Like, oh, please be a Cho'Gall. But anyway, sorry. All right, let's talk about the ban first. Ban-wise, they're going to want to pick up some... you'll want to ban out probably your Greymane at this point. Greymane or... Vala does well, but I think Greymane's just a little bit stronger than she is. So... And actually Lunara. Well, Lunara is actually really strong here because of the fact that she does provide so much vision with that Wisp. As well as her trait of just being able to always be going faster than an unmounted hero. And, you know, she never needs to mount up, so she's always got that ability to just rotate lanes a little bit quicker, a little bit faster. Please be Cho'Gall. Like, I don't think an Artanis really works too well with a Cho'Gall, but you never know. The swap into an Upheaval and it's not Twilight Dream. Twisting Nether. I mean, that could be really good, too. You swap someone, they start to retreat, you pull them back in with the Upheaval, then you Twisting Nether them, and they're just dead. But we are going to see, actually, Arthas picked up here. They're going to, you know, actually do a realistic draft and, you know, build a good comp instead of picking a Cho'Gall and just making me happy. They're definitely going to want to pick up at this point something like a ranged assassin to get the poke when it comes to those points. And there's the Li Ming. Literally took the words out of my mouth. I need to get bigger glasses of water because this is my third. And I only poured 3 glasses, I guess. And maybe I need to start doing 6 again. Alrighty. So on the side of ReGen, they have a very good range. They actually have 2 really good ranged assassins. They have a really good warrior. They have 1 global. Can they be greedy and take a second? Please be greedy and take a second. Actually, with the Genji and the Falstad, I'm thinking, would it be maybe Brightwing and Tassadar? Because that would work. The shields with Genji would work out pretty well, and Falstad. And then if you wanted, you could take Force Wall. You don't have to take Archon, but you could take Force Wall to peel people retreating. Because it'd be like you could have Force Wall and the Malfurion and Zeratul. So we're going to probably see that Zeratul definitely hunting that backline Li Ming. Or ReGen knows that someone on Shoulda Ran plays Lost Vikings. Come on. Just for me. Lost Vikings game, please. But realistically, they have a strong front line. They've got a good bruiser, so they've got a good solo laner as Arthas. Li Ming can solo lane, so you probably want to look at someone for that 3-man mid to go up against the Tyrael, Malfurion, and Genji, because Zeratul... Well, no, Genji will probably be in his own lane. You'll have Zeratul just roaming between the lanes, trying to get a pick off. Maybe if... So I don't think Li Ming would be by herself, so you'll definitely want a strong solo laner. Greymane is still available, and they do need a melee assassin. The range from him works out really well, and he does a very good job of having that target DPS. And actually, we're going to see a variant here. So triple tank. Falstad does have Giant Killer at 13. So I'm interested. Thank you for switching it back to Volleyball Li Ming. Creepy best Li Ming. Okay, Volleyball Li Ming better because everything is like volleyballs and stuff. So it's just hilarious. And her wand is like a volleyball trophy. It's hilarious to me. All right, and here we go. Third game into Warhead Junction. Okay, on the left-hand side, once again, we will have ReGen with Murda on Falstad, Turtles on Genshi, Danix on Zeratul, Savior on Malfurion, and Templar on Teriel. On the right-hand side, we are going to have Shoulda with Bane on Li Ming, Razkan on Ariel, McKnighter on dang it, on Razkan on
Alert.
Ariel,
Battleground initialization in progress.
McKnighter on Varian,
Combat preparation
Zalian on
advised.
Arthas, and Archetype on Arthanus. Oopsie. All right. There we go.
Time
So we are going to see the
remaining.
Vopa Blade on
10 seconds.
Zeratul. High King's Quest
5,
actually for Varian.
3, 2.
In case to see what Li Ming would be
1.
taking. The Force Armor
the battle
would be really
begin.
good against the Zeratul at this point. But we'll have to check back into this because we do have our beginning of the match. And it looks like we're going to have a small contest over the Watchtower. Does not look like we're going to have too much. Varian just working on the stacks. Li Ming did actually take the Astral Presence. So she didn't take the extra spell armor. We are going to see Zeratul and Falstad maybe collapsing onto this Arthanus together. Teriel is going to be rotating into bottom with the Arthas, though. So as I said, they're going to have, this is our solo laner, we're going to have Arthas against Teriel, and then we're going to have our Zeratul roaming with the Malfurion and Genji in mid. And I guess let's just talk about some of the strategy here. At this point, really, what you want to do is just kind of wait until you get the... Ooh, never mind. So Zeratul just really just making himself a presence on that backline, just saying, I can get in, and I can get your Li Ming down to about half health. So Ariel, do you have enough damage to keep her alive? Or enough healing to keep her alive? Falstad will be just fine getting out of that fight. In bottom lane, we are not going to have too much happening, just standardized laning, nothing. We're going to see Danix actually hiding off to the side a little bit here in the shadows. Getting ready for this pick. He's going to be rotating in the bottom, maybe to get a pick on this Arthas. I don't know if he has the damage output for it.
Warhead deployment.
But going back to the warheads, at this point, let's just talk really quickly about warhead placement. The original strategy was always to put it on the center of the gate. You'd get the gate and maybe this well. Actually, at this point, you want to put it right about here so you get a little bit of damage there. You get this, and it also takes out the majority of the gate. As well as if you hold on to your nuke, it will actually scale every minute. It scales a percentage of damage, or a factor of damage. I don't know exactly the numbers, but we are going to see in bottom lane Zeratul did pick that up. So in mid, ooh, we're going to see Arthas diving in here. So we are going to see, that's exactly what I was talking about. You see, you did get the well, you get enough damage onto the gate where you can whittle it down easily. In top, we're going to see Falstad does have fly. He can come into this bottom, into this mid altercation anytime he wants. But we do have Zeratul coming in. He does get a little bit of damage onto this Varian, who is, as we know, a little bit weak into the game. He isn't really too tanky till he gets his 7 to 10 talents. That's when he really starts to become a real tank. But until then, he's just kind of a bruisery fighter. Alright, and we are going to see... Ooh, Zeratul just gets collapsed upon by the team. Genji does get the poke onto the Li Ming, so does the Teriel. He does have the Eldrin, so he can go right into there and interrupt it one more time if he wants. Nope, it is gone, so he's not going to be doing that. He'll just go back into bottom, lane up, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and just give over this warhead. Li Ming, the swap does go into Genji, but he just dashes right out, and there is the nuke placement right into mid. They are going to get a little bit of damage onto this front gate, and it does, as you see, their nuke did a little bit more because it was at 3 minutes, not 2. We are going to see Danix coming into this backline again. He is on the Variant, but he does protect himself and gets... Ooh, it comes right back in with the Vorpal Blade. But it does not work out for him. We are going to see Tyrael just pushing up this lane, playing the safe game. We're going to see Artanis rotating down. The vision is provided by Danix, which is extremely useful. Templar is going to... Druin's right in, and it looks like they're going to be trying to collapse onto Zaylin. Zeratul does go in for the extra damage, but he dodges the root. Take a peek over in mid. We are going to have Genji and Valkyrian. Last second protect. Deflects that right back at her. In the meantime, while people are just laning up and getting some watchtowers, we'll take a peek at some of these talents. Artanis did actually go for the Season Marksman stacks. That's pretty good, actually. So he's going to be laning definitely against that Falstead, but the swap... Oh, I think he didn't do it at the last second. Actually, eventually out of Malfurion, which is... I don't know new Malfurion too well, but I don't think that's really the standardized pick. And Rune Tap and Icy Talons from Arthas. Interesting. Curious to see how those talents are going to play into the late game. But we are going to see Genji posturing here for a pick onto the Arthas. It looks like he will be dashing in here. The roots were already sent out, and oh my god, does he deflect so much damage off of him. Genji is on the wrong side of the wall. He does get killed by the turrets, and Arthas walks away like no big deal. We are going to see in top lane that Falstead is getting pushed in by this combo. And this is difficult for Falstead to respond to. But at the same time, in this bottom lane, that just means they're just getting free pushed. I mean, Arthas did have to go back, and he was doing pretty well. But we are going to see Zeratul. He is going to be on this backline. He is going to be on this Li Ming. He does have the stickiness from the Vorpal Blade. Li Ming does get healed right back up. He does have the dash out. Varian does come in with the slow and the... The Lion's Maw gets him at the last second. The orb is dodged, but that is another pick on the side of Shoulda. The root does miss. Genji just barely dodges it, and we are going to have a 4-phase nuke spawn. But the fact is, even with the 3 kills, they have neglected a lot of their soaking in bottom, and because of that, at this point, the levels are pretty much the same. Because the fact that Shoulda spent some time just getting kills, they neglected their bottom lane soak, some of their top lane soak here and there. Genji is getting sticky onto this Ariel, who is getting separated from her tank, and that means that Zeratul and Genji can go back and get a pick onto Artanis, and that is going to be a nuke for them. Li Ming does come in. Genji takes and bodies the damage so that way they can get the nuke, and that is amazing. This is some crazy Genji play. I mean, I don't play Genji well enough to do that kind of stuff. But holy crap, I just learned something. Definitely going to have to do that when I play Genji. Of course, you have to have your deflect up for that. You don't want to just body a Li Ming or... we're going to see a nuke fall in bottom for Shoulda, and we're also going to see a nuke in top for ReGen. So we're going to still get... ReGen is still holding on to a nuke, and so is... Shoulda, it looks like. I'm just curious who's holding on to it. Oh, Li Ming. Okay. Alrighty. We are going to see, though, that while Artanis was missing in this top lane, Falstead did get this fort down to half health. There is a small collapse onto the... the roots do catch one, but there is the protect and the healing from Ariel. And with Li Ming just pretty much always filling that health bar with her orbs, I don't think they're going to be getting picked too early onto this Varian. He actually went Colossal Smash. I didn't even notice that. Yeah. I missed Tyrael dying in bottom. Excuse me. But we are going to see in top. Oh, if he does he get the swap? Nope, he does not. So it looks like the Birdman will get away safely. Zeratul can D-push this. Yes, okay. I was wondering if he was just going to soak the shots from the tower or what. We are going to see that we get a little bit of vision here from the Malfurion. They're just going to play it safe. Their gate is down in mid, so they don't have a healing well, so they do have to play a little bit safer here. They definitely want to dodge all those orbs from Li Ming, otherwise you'll just be sacrificing a lot of mana out of Malfurion. Back in top, Falstead is ready for another engagement. He does have full health. The swap does not come out. There is the Genji collapse onto the Arthas, who is dismounted. Tyrael does come in. There is the slow from him, but the deflect is there. Does he get away this time? The X-Stride is there, and they confirm the kill. Nuke did come out from Li Ming. She does try and... I think she waited for that scaling. Looks like she'll just get a little bit of poke damage onto this 4. And in bottom, it looks like they're going to go ahead and just do the exact same thing. We're actually going to see a rotation out of Genji and the Zeratul here, which is going to be...
Warheads
Nope,
inbound.
they're actually going to be turning around for the Warhead pickup. And she's just whittling that tower away. Oh, Genji does come over the wall. He does come in for the engage. Does he have the extra damage? There is the Aegis from Ariel, which actually... They both walk straight into the VP. The Twilight Dream to confirm the kill. Ouch. Falsta does get bodied as well from the Artanis and the Varian with the Colossal Smash. Genji does come in. He is protected. He is also blinded, though, too, so he cannot do any damage currently. Drax, Danix is there. He does have the... Does he get swapped? Nope. Now... Oh, no. Oh, no, Savior. No. He came in to help his teammates, but they both have outs. They did juke enough and steal the... They did steal the Warhead, but at the same time, they did give one up themselves. We're going to see the Warhead placed from Artanis, which will guarantee this gate at this point. Yep. The late game scaling from those nukes is getting stronger and stronger. So we are going to see a 4-man, actually 5-man. Ariel should be coming into the team any second here. They're going to be rotating in. I wouldn't be surprised to see if they're going for a pick, but Zeratul actually caught her. She whips him away, but the Vorpal Blade gets her right back to her. Falstad will be making up for the lost soak in bottom, checking some of these talents really quick. Falstad is a little bit ahead of Artanis on those season marksman stacks. Tyrael will be cleaning top. Meanwhile, in mid, there is going to be a rotation, an aggressive rotation from Shoulda, and they collect right onto the Malfurion, who uses his Ice Block, but I don't think he's meant for this world anymore. He does get away for a second, but he then dies. I think that is the partial completion for the Varian High King's quest. What does he have left, actually? He probably has the 5 hero takedowns. Or, no, he probably has the regen globes at this point. That's what it is. I think we did see the nuke try to be used on the side of ReGen, but I think it was canceled by the swap from Artanis. And looks like we're just going to see a lot of people. That's actually a very aggressive camp to take, but it looks like they can do that. The VP is there, but I don't know. Oh, the team is coming. What are they about to do? The Genji does come in. The X-Strike is there. The blind actually misses the majority of the team. The Sendragosa is there, but then there's the Sanctification from Tyrael, which nullified it. Tyrael is so deep trying to... And the... Oh my god, that extended range. Falstad does die, but he does get the pick onto that. Ooh, the resets. It's a 2-for-1 trade. Li Ming is getting the resets that she needs, but it looks like they'll be able to get into their tower range. And... Oh, nope. There is the dash from Varian. He will have to back off. Oh, no. So the important thing to realize there is it was actually kind of good for him to do. Oh, no, Genji, but he does have a dash. Okay, and the root was there to follow up. The one thing I want to talk about really quickly, the reason that Tyrael dropped his nuke there was I think he assumed he was going to die, so rather than give the nuke over to the enemy team, burn it on the ground, that way no one gets it. But at the same time, I think they might have realized that, backed off at the last second, and forced them to waste a nuke. Ouch. They're going to take this aggressive camp here, but there is going to be a potential invade. They do not have 16s, but with that Raven, they do have the vision on the enemy team.
The warheads are ready for collection.
All right, and we are going to see a warhead collection phase here. Double nukes in bottom. In mid, we're going to see Falstad fly straight in the bottom. He will have the time to get those. We're going to see in engage. Tyrael is getting collapsed upon with the Colossal Smash and the laser. The banner does come out, but it is not enough. They cannot chase this team. There is the Holy Ground, which allows the team to get away. Genji does back up for a second, but he does have the dash out. The root does miss. Falstad still has Gus. Genji still has X-Strike. I mean, oh, there is the VP onto 3 people. What are they going to do? Where's the follow-up? The roots are underneath. The blind is there. There is no damage, but the X-Strike is there. Also, the silence from Malfurion is epic, and it takes out 3 people. Li Ming is getting chased by the Genji. Is there a reset for him to get the kill? No, they're going to back off here, and they're just going to use their nukes. They do have 2. They are going to need to clear this Reaper at some point because it will just slowly destroy that front gate. Tyrael will be able to just go ahead and clean up this bottom fort. The top fort will, maybe if the second mini wave comes in, will get that. Blue team will be getting, blue team, I'm saying what the administrator's saying. ReGen's actually going to go ahead and get this boss, and they have the time for it. Respawns aren't up for 1 second. They're just getting back right now, but they still have to rotate across the map, figure out even where the team is, too. Falsta does have Gust. He also does have Flight, so he can use the Gust for disengage, but he uses his E. There's the Gust for the disengage. He plays it safe. It's a 60-second cooldown. As long as you think you're not going to be in a fight or need it for 60 seconds, keep your life and don't keep that experience advantage. We're actually going to see this fort being taken down too. And Zeratul is going to be just throwing a nuke in bottom, and they are all over this map. I can't even keep up, and I can see the mini-map, and I can see where everyone is. But we are going to see that this boss is going to have to be responded to by... Ooh. Zaylin just walking right through all that frozen, doing so much damage. And at this point, ReGen is doing what Shoulda Ran did to them in the first game. And they're just basically pushing up all the lanes. They're getting all these camps. If Falsta's getting this one bottom, I would not be surprised to see a boss pick up right now from ReGen. It would be ballsy, but at the same time, they do. It seems like they have the better team fight. The ultimate's up. Gust is there. Falsta can fly in. I don't think he's going to have to use the flight. Nope, he's going to be using it. So let's see. Do we have a response? Yeah, we have. Okay, so we have Artanis coming in. Will he come in from the flank? The pulse. Okay, is the blind is there. The Falstad is dead. We do have, there is no Gust, but there is the invulnerability sanctification from Tyrael, which just guarantees them. They can die here. They do have the boss push. The Tyrael uses his holy ground. It keeps the enemy team from killing him, but they do lose 3 of their members. So it is a boss, and at the same time, in bottom lane, we are going to see that, I don't know StarCraft units that well. I think they're... I don't know what they are. But Genji is going to be getting a pick onto that Artanis. He was going to try and drop his nuke before Genji could kill him, but he didn't have enough time. And this keep is going to be losing at least half its health, and Zeratul can just sneak into bottom lane at this point and definitely get a pick onto that. Ooh, Arthas, watch your health, bud. We are going to see a double nuke phase here. At this point, with 2 dead, Falstad is up. He can just fly straight into bottom. Though it is smart on the side of ReGen to maybe save that flight because they do not have vision for the enemy team. Nope, he's going to go straight into it. He does have Gust for the disengage, so he doesn't really need to worry too bad. His team is rotating into him, so he should be fine. All right, and here we go. We have 3 nukes on the side of ReGen. They have almost 20s. They got about 2 minion waves, but I think they're going to wait for their team to show up, take out that sidewall, because who wants a sidewall? Okay. So we're probably going to be seeing a scout from Zeratul. We're going to see a little bush party. No, okay. I was wondering if they were going to use the nuke on that bottom keep or if they're just going to let it go. And I think that's what's going to happen. They're going to let that keep go. Maybe they're going to save them for a core rush? But I don't think 3 nukes at 18 minutes will be doing enough. They actually, with these rotations, they're actually not going to have 20s first. They're going to be losing out of the 20 advantage, but they get it anyways. Ariel did go for her Hope. Shield of Hope. Disintegrate slow, actually. We're going to see the Syndragosa upgrade and the Nexus Blade for Artanis. We are going to see the Genji Deflect upgrade. We're going to see the Holy Arena, the Void Prism upgrade, which is interesting. I wonder what kind of combo they have planned for that. For Malfurion, I would not be surprised just to see Bolt, because it's just, I mean, why not have it? And Falstad holding onto his 22. It looks like Shoulda Ran is looking for a team fight. We are going to see the Colossal Smash and the Engage. The Void Prism does come out. Looks like the Sanctification, the Holy Arena. We're going to see the X-Strike. The Silence comes out as well. There is the first death from Arthas. We're going to see the pushback. She has a sliver of health, but the Deflect gets the kill. We are going to see Malfurion die, but at the same time, we are going to see Varian fall. And with that, and the 3 nukes, I think this might be a march for core. Granted, there is the Li Ming and the Artanis, so they do have decent core defense if she does get a couple resets, but this is a 2v4, so there is the advantage on the side of ReGen. Zeratul is moving up a little bit here. Curious to see if Li Ming's going to spot it out. Nope, there is the deflect from Genji. There is the follow-up from the Zeratul, who just gets Bane low enough here. And it looks like they're going to be marching in with these nukes onto the core. Right, 1, 2, 3? I think I saw the third. And it looks like they're going to, yep. At 19 minutes, Zeratul did die, but Artanis does fall himself. And it looks like Li Ming might defend, but that is GG. Second game going over to ReGen. All right, and quickly, while we're getting ready to set up the next lobby and I take a quick water break, let's take a peek at some of these talents and stats. Falstad siege damage, 107,000. Just lane presence constantly. I kind of said that in that first game, I was kind of saying that the Falstad not too good, or I was saying that the Dahaka might have been better. My words, I regret saying those words at all. I mean, Falstad play phenomenal. This Genji hero damage, insane. But at the same time, I mean, this Li Ming, wow, 0 deaths, and just to have that much siege damage and hero damage on your team is just phenomenal as well. So GG's to both teams. We will be setting up soon. Until then, I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break. only be having a best of 3 tonight. So that will be doing it for my stream. Sorry again, I thought it was a best of 5 myself, but I think they had to, I didn't think they could commit for the full best of 5. So, GG's, well played. Look out for me on Twitter at Bahamut Gaming, on YouTube. I think it's Bahamut Plays Games on YouTube. And here, please follow me on Twitch at Bahamut Gaming. I'll be doing another one of these streams tomorrow night. We have ReGen versus, let me just check really quick. ReGen versus, he sent it to me already. ReGen versus Killer Bones. That will be tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Please, if you want more content like this, please follow, and there will be more. Until then, I will see you in the Nexus, and GG's.